MPs at Westminster are preparing to vote on Friday on a bill to allow assisted dying in England and Wales. The proposals set out by backbench MP Kim Leadbeater would apply to terminally ill adults who are aged 18 or over, are registered with a GP and are expected to die within 6 months. They must also have the mental capacity to make the choice and would only be able to seek help to die if 2 doctors agree and if a High Court judge approves. They would need to take the lethal dose themselves, unlike in some countries where medical professionals can administer it. If MPs vote in favour this week, the proposed law would still face several further rounds of debate, including in the House of Lords. Our political correspondent Harry Farley has been speaking to 3 Labour MPs about the decision they'll be making.
My dad's diagnosis was a complete shock. He had some symptoms. None of us expected it to be terminal cancer.
The decisions made this week on assisted dying are, for many MPs, personal as well as political.
This law would fundamentally change the relationship between a patient and their doctor. My dad died of terminal cancer a few years ago, and I know that if, as would have been allowed under this law, his doctor had suggested to him that he should think about killing himself because he was terminally ill, that would have terrified him.
Polling suggests that most of the public would support a change to the law on this. What would you say to those who say this is about autonomy and people deserve the right to choose when they die?
I understand the argument that's being made, and it is about giving a pretty small and very articulate group of people who I do feel real empathy towards, giving them the choice that they seek. The problem is that giving them the choice they seek puts a much larger, very vulnerable group of people in harm's way.
Behind the arguments is the memory of a loved one lost.
It's partly because of my dad, I think, that I'm sitting here now. He first brought me to Parliament when I was a school kid. It's a great sadness to me that he wasn't here to see me take my seat. I wish very much he was here to be part of it.
And do you think he would have opposed this change as well?
100%, I know he would have.
My dad was really larger than life. He was a wonderful man. He was great fun, and he was a farmer. He loved the countryside, and he's really given that love to me.
Similar experiences have led others to different conclusions.
Last year he became really ill, and he was given a terminal diagnosis. The last few days were incredibly difficult. He was in a lot of pain, and it was really, really, really hard to see someone you really love going through that. He struggled to breathe, and so seeing him like that made me realise that we needed a change of the law and that we need to be able to choose, and that's what I'd like for other people.
Has that been a difficult process to reach that decision, or?
It's certainly not a decision I've taken lightly, but that was the biggest factor, seeing a death close at hand.
And a choice that you wish that your dad had?
Absolutely. I don't know if he would have taken that choice or not, of course, but I wish he would have had that choice.
While some have made their decision, many MPs are still wrestling with how they'll vote.
Approaching the election, I was fairly sure that I was in favour of some measures to allow assisted dying. But having looked at this process, I have got doubts.
Sean's wife has multiple sclerosis, which is an incurable but not terminal illness. She wouldn't be in scope for this bill, but it's shaping his thinking.
We have talked about this issue of assisted dying, not necessarily on a sort of anticipating it, but clearly what would you do in this situation? What are your views on it? She's very much pro-choice for the individual. I remain very much on the fence and not as certain as I was before.
The gravity of Friday's decision weighs on many MPs. Whatever the outcome, all sides agree it will be a pivotal moment. Harry Farley, BBC News in Westminster.